first thing I want to cover is what's wrong with the old trust. So the idea behind this presentation is basically the following, that situations have arisen. I know Abby has seen them, I've seen them, I'm sure many of you out there on this call have seen these situations where a client has created a trust. That trust holds one or more life insurance policies. Situations or circumstances have changed. Maybe the change circumstance is that the family has changed. Maybe there's a divorce, or maybe there's a change in the makeup of the children. Maybe one of the children is now facing some creditor issues. Another type of change circumstance might be a change in the law. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the fact that back in 2001, the estate tax provisions were changed dramatically, and as of the last 3 or 4 years, the estate tax exemption at the federal level is now almost approaching $5.5 million per person, $11 million per couple. But many of these old trusts and the policies that were acquired in these old trusts were designed to pay estate taxes when the estate tax exemption amount per person was $1 million and per couple was $2 million. So certainly change circumstances dealing with the change in the law, maybe change circumstances in the needs of the client, or maybe change circumstances in the makeup of the family. Those are the types of situations that we want to address here, and how to deal with those situations and how to change or how to create flexibility with an old trust. What we're not going to focus on, just to put a few issues aside, we're not going to focus on issues about the policy itself. For instance, we're not going to focus on life settlements or 1035 exchanges. We're not going to focus on repurposing the policy itself. We're going to focus on repurposing the trust. And obviously, I think if we tried to focus on repurposing the policy itself, I think Abby and I would be preaching to the choir. I'm sure the people on this call know as much, if not more, about what to do with an old policy itself as we do. Once we've set up, once I've gone through some of the situations that we want to address, I'll turn things over to Abby. Abby's going to go through 2 major concepts that have evolved over the last 10, 15 years. One of those concepts is trust modification. There are many jurisdictions out there that allow a trust that is seemingly irrevocable or unamendable to still be modified under certain circumstances. And then the other topic that she'll cover that will help with repurposing old trusts is the concept of decanting. And for those of you that aren't familiar with decanting, but are familiar with wine, it's really the same concept. When you're thinking about decanting wine, you are literally thinking about moving wine from one vessel to another. Well, that's the same concept in the trust world. Decanting involves the idea of taking assets like an insurance policy from trust number 1 and moving it over to, or pouring it over into, a new second trust. But again, there are many states out there that have decanting statutes. There are other states that don't have decanting statutes. Those that have decanting statutes, there are certainly differences between those decanting statutes state by state. The last idea that I'll cover is sales between trusts. So if you've got an old policy sitting in an old inflexible insurance trust, and you want to figure out what to do with it, and maybe modification or decanting is not available, another alternative would be to have the trustee of trust number 1 sell that policy to a newly created trust created by the same grantor or the same creator of trust number 1.